Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Abu. Today I'm going to be doing the tutorial for the weaving that we taught in class, so that if you want to continue weaving and creating your own little people at home, you can continue to do it in the summer. So if you're new and you weren't part of the class that I was teaching at the school that my children go to, and you're finding this on YouTube, I'm going to be teaching how to weave this little character. All you need is a bristle board. I just got this at Michael's. It was a big board that I cut into the size I wanted, so you could make this loom any size you want. All you do is you take the cardboard. You need something thick enough that's not going to bend while you're weaving. And then I cut these, so you have to have it offset. I have 7 slots that I used scissors to cut, and then I just glued with a glue gun a popsicle stick, and this is only to prevent it from tearing further down, or it also helps the kids to be able to weave through the strings without needing a needle, because some kids will continuously pull the wool out of the needle and it'll make it more difficult for them to do the weaving. So this way they can just use their own hands and begin weaving with any color they like. If they don't want to make a little character, they can just weave a straight cloth, and they could use it as either make it with a few strings and use it as a bracelet, or they can use it as a bookmark or a wall hanging if they put fringe at the bottom. So all you need is the board I showed you, as well as some masking tape and yarn, any color you like. This one, the light is not picking it up well. It's a nice pink, so that I can do the background color the same color as the face. Now the background color is not really important, because as you see, the background strings was this pink. However, you don't see it throughout. Because the weaving is so tight, you won't see your background color. So now I'm going to get started, and I'll show you how to warp your loom. So the first step to get your loom ready to weave is to warp your loom. So what you have to do is turn it over. The right side is where the popsicle sticks are. Go ahead and turn it over and take the end of the yarn that you're going to be using to warp, and tape it to the back of the cardboard loom that you created. Now, in order to warp your loom, you're going to grab your yarn that's tied at the back, and you're going to try to keep it as tight as possible without breaking your yarn or without the yarn coming apart at the back. So you're going to go through the first slit all the way to the top and put it through, and keep it tight enough that it almost sounds like a guitar string if you touch it. Now you're going to go all the way down to the bottom again, so you're going to be going around to the second one, the second hole in your loom, always the closest to the last yarn. You're going to follow the closest every time, and you're going to go all the way up to the second hole at the top, and now back at the bottom, and then all the way back to the top, and then back at the bottom, and then all the way at the top, and then back at the bottom, all the way at the top, and then back at the bottom, all the way again to the top, and one more time. Back at the bottom, all the way to the top. And now you can see it looks kind of like a guitar. And if you go like this sideways, like you would string a guitar or strum a guitar, you'll hear a little bit of a noise, and that means that it's tight enough. You don't want it too loose, but you don't want it too tight. And now to finish it off, you'll need to cut the end. Please use scissors. I am used to cutting yarn, so my hands are strong, but you should be using scissors. And you're going to take another piece of masking tape to hold down the back rope so that it doesn't loosen or fall off. And that's it. That's the first step to beginning your loom. Now we're ready to start weaving. This is what the loom looks like beside our little character. So we're going to be starting with the hair. So you're going to choose a color that you want to make your little guy's hair or little girl's hair. I'm going to be using this fluffy color. You can use any thickness of yarn you like, but I'm going to be using this very pretty color to start with the hair. Now, when I was in class, I said you don't need that much yarn. So the best way to measure your yarn was to go 2 arms length. So stretch your arms out long, long, long. If you're a child, stretch your arms out long, 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 like you're doing a very big side-to-side stretch, and measure it twice that length. And if you are an adult, I would say probably 1.5 arm length should be enough. And once you do that, you can go ahead and cut the yarn from the ball of yarn. Now we have to set up our yarn that we're going to be weaving with. So turn your loom over again, and this will be the last piece of masking tape you will need. So at the top of the board, you will go ahead and tape the back. At the top of the back, the yarn that you'll be using to weave. Like that, at the back. Then you're going to turn it over. And weaving is done by alternating over, under, over, and under. So we'll go ahead and do the first row. So we'll start by going under, and then over, and then under, and then over the next, and then under the next one, and then over the next, and under the last one. Now once you've gone under the last one, you're going to pull until you reach the end of the yarn. Not too tight because you don't want to tear it at the back, but tight enough. You just want to make sure you get to the end of the yarn you're using. And then you use your fingers like a fork and you push it to the top. And that's what it should look like. So now the second row is going to be worked going back. So you're just going to be going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth until the yarn is finished. So now we're on this side, and the last one that we finished with was underneath. So the next row we have to do the opposite. So that first thread, we're going to have to take our new yarn and go over this thread. So we're going to go over, under, over, under, over, under, over. So I'll go ahead and do that. So that's over, under, over, under, over, under, over. Now you can see I did the exact opposite of what was done above it. Now I'm going to pull until I get to the end. And here you're going to want to be careful because you want to make sure that it's tight. So the best thing is to put your finger here as you're pulling so you can't pull it too tight, and then pull it tight. Because if you don't do that, you're going to pull it tight and your little character will get very skinny. So you have to make sure you don't over pull. So put your finger there on that last thread and pull it tight. And then remember to use your fingers like a fork and push, push, push. Now we'll do one more row. So on this side now, as you see, I ended on top. So I went over the thread. So my next row going back will be under, over, under, over, under, over, under. I'll go ahead and do that quickly, as quick as I can. Under, over, under, over, under, over, and the last one will be under. Now I'm going to start pulling. Now you see I'm getting to the end of the thread. So what are we supposed to do? We put our finger at the top so that we can't pull too tight, and then we pull tighter. And then we could let go with our thumb and push up and do the same thing over again. So this next row was under. So now we're going to start by going over, under, over, under, over, under, over. So I'm going to finish doing his hair, and then I'll come back and show you the next step. So now I'm done that step. So I've done all the hair, going back and forth and squishing up with my fingers. And I have a little bit of a tail left. I could probably go back one more time, but I want to make sure, that I have enough yarn to tie a knot. So what I'm going to do is take this end. Sorry for the movement, I can't get my camera set up. Okay, hopefully this will work. So I'm going to take the two ends of the yarn. This is going to be the color I choose for the face, because now I'm at my little guy's face here. So I'm going to take the two colors together and hold the tips together in my hand. And the way I taught it in class was the bunny trick. So you go around the tree, form an X, and the bunny goes under the bunny hole. And you pull. So again, all you do is before the knot is done is you'll go around the fingers and then cross it and then go through the bunny hole and pull tight. And this will make a very solid knot. This won't come back out. Even if you trim it, it won't come apart. So now the next step again is you have to measure your 1.5 or 2 arms lengths of the color that you're going to be making the face with. And you start weaving from there. So now the last weaving was under, over, under, over. So with the new color, I will do the opposite again and just continue like the last step. So it's going to be under, over, under, over, under, over. Now the trick with this one, because you just added a new color, is you have to make sure that when you're pulling, that you pull the knot all the way through. And the knot is still on the other side, so I'm going to go back again. So the next row I ended here over, I'm going to go back under, over, under, over, under, over, under. And now this time when I pull, sorry, I grabbed the wrong yarn. Okay, so let me do that again. Under, over, under, over, under, over, under. And now this time when I pull, you will see that the knot will be in the center of the threads. So all you want to do is pull them up and just put them out of the way. and just keep weaving. It doesn't matter where it ends up. This is actually the back of your character. So now you're just going to keep weaving like you did before, and at the end we're going to trim all these so you won't even see them. So just keep going with your next color once you've gone this far, and when I'm done my face color, I'll come back and do the next video. So now I've finished the face, so I have the hair and the face, and I need to add another color again. This will be his shirt. So I chose I guess a brownish beige color for his shirt, and I just wanted to go over the attaching knot again. So you put the two tips together, wrap around your fingers, cross it over, and then push through the center of the two fingers. You see it poking out, and then you grab this and you remove your fingers and pull. Tighten the knot. And now I'm going to continue weaving. I'm going to do the shirt, which is the same. It's just back and forth until this color is done. And then we're going to move on to his pants, which is a little bit more difficult, but we'll go ahead and do that together, and you'll be able to see every step. So now I'm done his hair, his face, and his shirt. See? Hair, face, shirt. And if you notice there's not much room left at the bottom of your loom, you could just go ahead and squish it up higher and it'll make you more space. Now I've already attached the color for my pants the same way as I showed you before, the last two times in this video. And we're going to begin his pants. Now we have to start the same way as we did the shirt for a little bit, because on our pants, this would be the part that goes on our tummies. So we have to make sure that we weave a little bit to be able to look like real pants. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be back in a minute. So now's where it gets a little tricky. So I'm back. I finished doing the pants, the top part of the pants. So now we got to split his legs. He needs 2 legs. So what do? We're going to have to count how many strings we have. So I know we have 7. So that means we're going to have one leg a little bit smaller than the other. So we're going to have to use only 3 threads for one side and 4 threads for the other. So that will be a little hard to do, just because, I'm sorry, I was just going down on my chair. So that's because you're only going to be working back and forth on 4 strings here until you have the one pant leg done. So don't use these anymore. So for the first leg, we're just going to go back and forth on these 4 strings. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do that with you for the first repeat, and then you'll be able to continue on your own. So now, sorry, I'm trying to secure the phone. I don't want it to fall. Okay, so now the last one was under, so I'm going to go again opposite. So over, under, over. So that's 4 strings. So I'm going to stop. You know the trick of holding the last piece, pulling through so it doesn't get too tiny. Now I'm going to take my end. So the last one here was under, so I'm going to go over, under, over, under. Now I can't hold the last one because the string doesn't go there. You see, the string is going away. So I'm going to hold this leg, this part of the leg right here, and pull tight. Remember to push up. Now we're going to go back again. We're going to keep going on this leg. So over, under, over, under. We're going to pull. Remember, until this leg is done, we're only working on 4 threads. So we're going to go back over, under, over, under. We're going to pull. And now keep going until it's long enough of a pant leg. You'll want to stop towards the bottom so that you can put a shoe if you want, or you can just do the pant all the way down. So for mine, so as you see, the one leg is getting longer. So as you can see here, I kept going one side and then I left a little space to put a little gray shoe. You don't have to put a shoe. I think on my next weaving, I'm not going to put a shoe. So just keep going on this leg, which is these 4 threads, until it gets down as far as you can go if you're not putting a shoe, and a little shorter if you wanted to add another color, but I'm not going to for this tutorial. I'm just going to stop at the end and I'm not going to put a shoe. And I'll come back and show you how we start the next leg. I'm back again. So now as you can see, I finished the one pant leg. So we have his hair, his face, his shirt, and his pants. Now we're going to start the second pant leg. So the easiest way, I think, to attach it will be the same way you did you would a shoe at the beginning. So maybe go around thread. So just put it through one of them, pull it out a little bit, and then all you do is going to be to cross like we did the previous knots, but only with its own color. So just one piece of yarn, the yarn that you're about to attach. So go under the string, go around a finger, one finger, and then the little end will go through the hole, and you could pull that tight. So if you wanted it to be very secure, you could do that twice, because this is the back. So you would go like this. You would take the 2 ends, the short end, the one that's attached, that you'll be using. So you can just cross them over, make a hole. So you're just doing an X, and then you go through the hole and you pull. And now the next piece will be attached, and all you're going to be doing is the same thing as the last pant leg, but you're only using 3. So I'll do a few rows with you. So before we attached, the last one was under. So this one that we attached, so the last one here before we attached was under. So this one that we attached, we're going to push up, and this is like our over. So then it'll be under and over. And then remember to hold and pull. And now you'll be going back. So we ended on the third one over. So we'll be going under, over, and under. And we're going to pull. And now we have to just keep going back and forth. So we have to find our end. Sorry. So we're going to go back and forth on just the 3 strands to keep working his leg. So the last one was under. So the next row will be over, under, over. And then you hold here so it doesn't pull too tight, and you pull your string. Now here it's over, so we start under, over, and under the last one. Now we're going to pull and hold on to that string so it doesn't pull in. And remember, push, push, push. So now I'm going to keep going until both pant legs are the same length. So I'll be back in a few minutes when both of my pants are done. Both of my legs are done. Hi, I'm back again. So now you see I've done both pant legs, and now it's the final touches. So we're going to do the rest together right now in this video. So the first thing is you need a pair of scissors. So what you're going to be doing is all of these little ends from the knots, you're going to cut it, not right at the end of the knot, but close enough, and you're just going to trim them off. So that's all of them. Trim, trim, trim. And these little guys at the end, they're just going to stay there because we're going to tie them in with the end of this one here, which will make the shoelaces. So now what we have to do is turn it over and remove these pieces of masking tape that we used. We're just going to slowly take those off. And the pieces that are loose, we could just remove them, pull them down, and now we're going to use our scissors to cut in the center of the rest of the stitch, this was the warp. This is what we used as the guitar strings. So we're going to cut these in the center of the loom. Don't be scared, it's not going to fall apart. Now this next part, you might need a big sister or a big brother or your mom or your dad to help you. So what we're going to do is turn it back over. Now all these strings are cut, we're going to turn it back over. So the first thing is you take the one leg out. So I'm going to pull the ropes out of the holes from that first leg. And now we're going to do the shoelace. So we're just going to separate the ropes, the threads. We have 3 threads. So we could make them into a pretty shoelace bow. So tie them in its first knot. And now we're going to tie it in its second knot. And now we're going to do the bow. And you can cut the extra ends off. You don't need those once it's tied. There you go. You can even cut the end of this one off. So that's one leg finished. Now we're going to take the legs that had the 4 threads, and we're going to do the same thing. Gently pulling it out, and we're going to take 2 ropes in each hand, and we're going to tie that. We're going to tie it in a shoelace bow. And again, you might need your mom, your dad, your big brother, or your big sister to help you. So first knot, I'm going to do a double knot. And now we're going to do the pretty bunny ears. And now again, we can cut the extra strings. So now we got to work on the top. So you see now, look, its legs are no longer attached. So now we're going to work on the top. So we're going to pull 2 of the strings at a time. You don't want to pull them all out in case you make a mistake. So we're going to pull 2 strings out at a time. And I'm going to attach them to a wood dowel, which I got at Dollar Tree for $1 for 15. If you don't have wood dowels, you can go outside and get a branch from a tree, which looks really pretty. So now I'm going to put the wooden dowel between the first 2 strands that I just untied, and I'm going to make a knot, a double knot. So I'm going to tie 1, 2. You want to make sure that it's very tight. Maybe let's go 3, just to make sure. and then we can cut them. So now we have to continue. So we're going to take the next 2 straps out, and we're going to put the wood between those 2 straps, and you're going to tie that again into 3 knots. So that's 1, that's 2, and this will be the 3rd. And now I'm going to cut these. Now there are 3 left. So we're going to do like we did with the shoelace. We're going to separate them. So we'll put 2 in the back, 1 in the front. And then I'm going to do 3 knots. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to cut that. So now you see he's removed. I could even cut his little strand of hair that's very long and sticking out, so you don't see it too much. So now this is the back. You see where we cut all the knots? We're going to go ahead and turn it over, and the other side is perfect. And now we have to put the finishing touches. So we've ended it. It's no longer attached to our board. So we have to put his face and his arms. So we're going to start by his eyes. I chose googly colored eyes, which again I got at Dollar Tree. It's a pack for $1. So I chose 2 eyes with a glue gun, which is why the end part you need your mom, your dad, big brother, or big sister to help. So you just put a little drop of glue at the back of the eye and you glue it on his face. And you do the same to the next. A little drop of glue and you glue it to his face. Now I chose this pink for his mouth. On my other one was red, but I chose pink. So what I'm going to do is just wrap the bottom of the little thread so that I have somewhere to glue it. The circle will not be glued, so it's just this little bottom. So I'm going to actually put the glue on his face directly where I want the mouth, and I'm just going to put 1 little drop. And then I'm going to put his little mouth. You can choose any color. You can choose red. You could choose any color you want. Like my first little guy here, I chose red, a sparkly red, so it would shimmer. So now we're almost done. He needs arms. You can use anything you can find for arms. You could use branches. I'm going to use a popsicle stick that I cut in 2. So it was a full popsicle stick, and I used very sharp scissors and cut it in 2. So I'm going to turn him around so I can glue his arms to his shirt. So all you have to do is put the glue directly on the yarn, and you'll put the popsicle stick there and hold it for a minute. Squish it down and it'll stay. And now I'm going to put his next arm, little bit of glue, and then I'm going to glue it and hold it down, and that's it. Now you're going to want to put a little rope to hang it. This is the easy part. You just take a piece of thread, and I'm just going to make a little knot on either side of my little guy here, so that will be its hanging rope. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. You can use any yarn, any thread. You can be very creative on the colors of how you want to hang him, or you could just leave him on the little piece of wood and not put a hanging. I just think it's very cute because he could be hung. You could use him as a puppet, but he's very precious. And now you have from beginning to end how to make your own hand-woven puppet. Thank you for watching. Hope you had fun. So if you wanted to make a bigger project, you can make yourself a bigger loom with a big piece of cardboard, and then you could make a painting or something pretty that goes on the wall. This is one of mine that I recently made. So hope you have fun weaving. Hope you'd enjoyed these lessons. And I really hope you continue weaving on your spare time and during the summer. It's something that's portable, you can take on trips, and it's very fun and relaxing to do. Enjoy your weaving. Have a great summer holiday.